The Courtnall Celebrity Classic was born out of the idea that the Courtnall brothers have that if we can erase the stigma surrounding mental illnesses, we can and will save lives. Their dad, Archie Courtnall, was a proud man, but he lived in an era when people didn't talk about mental health. They didn't talk about depression or having thoughts of suicide. And they certainly did not ask for help. His sons believe that if a facility such as the Archie Courtnall Centre existed back then when he took his own life, their dad might be alive today.
Let's talk a little bit about your dad. And I know it's hard when you lose somebody and in those circumstances to go back, and people are afraid to talk about death in any event, much less when someone takes their own life. But tell me about your childhood memories of your dad, Jeff.
I think just growing up, he spent a lot of time with us, did a lot of work around the yard and taught us how to work. And I think that the work ethic that he instilled in us is really the reason we were successful in life and in hockey.
Every Saturday morning, my dad would go down to the BC Forest Products on Gorge Road, and we would go down with him, and we would walk the mill with him. We had great memories down there. We spent a lot of time with our father.
He was a great man and a loving father, and but as a young child to lose him so soon was hard. You know, it was really hard.
I used to go to my aunt's every morning and go for a walk with him, and this morning I rode my bike over there, and my aunt told me that he was in the hospital. So I rode my bike to the hospital, and then
It's okay. And you found out when you got there?
yeah. The biggest thing back then is that he was really ashamed of being sick and didn't want to talk about it to anybody. He didn't want to go for help. And I think that, you know, there was that stigma about mental health and being depressed back then, and just probably really stopped him from getting the help he needed.
We'd had charity events in Vancouver, and we just felt like we really needed to do something in Victoria. And Ben O'Connor at the time was doing the Together We Care program back in, and there was a mental health problem. There was something they wanted to do, and really they brought it to our attention, and that it just was the thing. We looked at each other and said, this is it, and we just went from there.
My first experience with the Archie Courtnall Centre was from my post-concussion symptoms, I had to go to the hospital. I was checking into emergency, and a lady came and sat beside me. The nurse said, "What are you here for?" And she says, I'm suicidal. I need help right away. And they came out probably 15 minutes later from the Archie Courtnall Centre and got the lady and took her back, and you know, she was probably saved or given another chance to get healthy.
I have bipolar disorder and coexisting anxiety disorder, which I've suffered with actually as a child. Bipolar disorder was diagnosed about 10 years ago. When I was in a crisis about 2 years ago, and it was crisis enough that I was going to take my life, I ended up at the Archie Courtnall Centre, and they literally have saved my life. I'm here because of them, which makes me, you know, get choked up, but I'm so grateful to them.
I think that it's going to take everybody to solve the problems on the streets. You know, we all have to get involved and do what we can in any way. It doesn't have to be a donation. It can just be in helping people and trying to save a life.
I really believe, you know, if we had more like an Archie Courtnall Centre, that he would probably be alive today. I really believe that.